My name is Big Lux, and my life is a beautiful resistance because I'm a hip-hop violinist, and I use that skill to promote my two main causes, which are for veterans and also social justice movement.
He said his name is Big Lux. Hey! Tell me about this name.
Big Lux. I mean, God, I get a lot of questions about it, and I think I got as many answers as I had questions. But right now, what I think it really means to me is the juxtaposition between something that can be, strong or big, and then something that can be fancy or delicate,
So like big luxury.
Yeah, kind of something like that. So you got a big dude who plays the violin.
Love it. What gives you joy?
Dancing, music, movement of all kinds.
How did you come to play the violin?
That's a good question too. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was like 7 years old, and I knew I was gonna have to play. Somewhere in my mind, I just knew I was gonna have to play an instrument. And my parents asked me if I wanted to play like the violin or the viola, and I was like, of course I'm gonna play the violin. Like, all I knew was like, all right, I'm gonna do this violin thing now. And I was really fortunate to have parents who were so supportive, and they paid for like private lessons for me from that time until I graduated high school.
What do you love about it?
I think, honestly, at first I loved the attention. Just this little kid, just getting out there. Like, every time I played, people would be like clapping and stuff. And I know I was terrible. Like, there's no way I was good. There was no way I was good as a kid. But, people were just like, oh, this is really cool. This kid is trying to play violin. Let's keep on encouraging him.
So how does a violinist come to West Point?
Growing up in Rhode Island, where a lot of my family grew up in Newark, New Jersey, I knew I had immense privilege, in the town and the school that I grew up in. And I was like, I don't want people to look at me and look at my life, especially like my family, and be like, well, he was only successful because he was in Rhode Island, because they moved out here and he had access to all this other stuff. And so I wanted to do something to prove that like I could do something difficult too.
Some people go to school, get in and get out. You served and served again and again. You served 13 years. What kept you committed?
The sense of opportunity and the ability to be able to like serve the country in different roles and try to maximize my skill set.
As a Black man, what does patriotism mean to you, and what did you learn about yourself serving this country? Right
now, we're a country that's like really, I feel like, divorced from, the average person is divorced from what the military is doing and what the security forces are doing. The thing that bothers me the most right now is, especially as a Black man who served, is people who want to use their freedoms, quote unquote, to try to suppress other people's either speech, activities, lifestyle. I think that's probably one of the biggest things we know and understand. Hey, we're out here for everybody's point of view, whether you're liberal or conservative or, wherever you fall on the spectrum, we want you to be able to say your piece, but like, we want the marketplace of ideas to battle it out. We don't want to devolve into like people attacking each other or attacking the Capitol or, you know, wherever else might happen.
What is that like for you as a veteran to see the backlash Kaepernick got for kneeling and the ease in which domestic terrorists had invading the Capitol?
If you are Black or a person of color, that you understand the issues that he's talking about. You know, most of the people who took offense did not stop to put themselves in our shoes, or did not stop to be like, okay, well, if you know, all things equal between the two parts, you know, which one wins out, or like, do they find it disrespectful? The fact that there were so many veterans who were part of that group who stormed the Capitol on January 6th is very disheartening. Not surprising. The Army does a lot to try to educate people about how to live together and how to work together and how to be a team, you know, and we do, despite like differences in race and class and gender and things like that. But it's really hard to kill off, you know, home raising, you know, what you learn from your parents.
Tell me about how you came to start using your violin for Black Lives Matter as a veteran.
In May of 2019, I quit my job, and that same week I flew out to LA, and one of my boys is a producer out there, and we worked on our first EP, which I called Major. And one of the songs on it was a song I called Red March, and it was just my first kind of social justice song, just kind of just laying out all of my feelings and frustrations with, you know, the Trump administration at the time. Fast forward from that point to 2020, when we are in the wild summer that we had, I was really trying to think of what I could do as an artist to respond to everything that was happening around me. And I realized that I had already said everything that I thought I needed to say through that song Red March, but I wanted a visual component to it, so I made a music video. It basically showed and juxtaposed scenes from the 60s with the summer that we were currently in, and showing the you know, what happened in Minnesota, and you know, when they burned the precinct. I was really happy with that work, and I think it opened a lot of people's eyes.
Music and the arts, period, they play such a powerful role in our society and in our political movements. So what you're doing it's important. It's an important tool. But I also know that you are considering taking another political step, taking it further than the strings, and running for political office, aiming to become the first person of color, first Black person to hold office in Westerly. So tell me a little bit about that journey and what that's decision-making process is looking like right now.
One of the points they were making is that, hey, we just don't have any people of color within the leadership structure of the town, within any of the town committees, or you know, definitely not elected office. And so you know, I put my name forward as somebody to try to be nominated for one of the boards. So I was put on the planning board because of my development and construction experience. And so then I started to work kind of from the inside on issues of fair and affordable housing, and, you know, in development issues that would affect the town. And, you know, I realized through that process that I really wanted to continue to be a voice for people who were kind of disenfranchised with the process, or who would never felt like they were been part of the process. Like you mentioned, that, you know, it's a town that really hasn't had, you know, a diverse leadership at all in their existence, and so I wanted to be the change that I saw.
Being Black in New England is,
I don't want to say like not being seen, But part of it is kind of not being seen. I mean, you know, if you're black in New York or black in Philadelphia or black in Atlanta, you have this like identity, this nationally known identity that you can kind of fall back on. You know, you have all of these artists, all these like athletes, all these people who kind of like go before you and represent you kind of in a way. So when you say like I'm black from St. Louis, people have like all kinds of associations. They'll be like, oh, Nelly, whatever, you know, like. But when you say black in New England, or specifically like black in Rhode Island, you know what? There's nothing that comes to mind. You know, it's our mission, I think, as black people, like artists, creators in this area, to make an identity for ourselves, so that, you know, 5 or 10 years down the road, people exactly know what being black in Rhode Island means, because they can associate it with a person or a song or a piece of work or whatever it is. Because right now, it's not a lot.
Well, part of that is erasure and just, I think, a willfulness to not recognize the non-white residents of the region, and to just be happy to sell this area as, you know, white and wealthy and woke, which is debatable. What gives you pride in being a black man in America?
I think there's really two main things. I mean, I think of, first one is resilience, and the second one is creativity.
Step back, look out, got this, watch me. Step back, look out, got this, watch me. Step back, look out, got this.
And that's what I love about my people. It's just figuring out how to build something from nothing, and then just having the tenacity to stay in it, like when it looks like everybody could potentially be against you, you know.
The Black radical imagination is such a powerful tool of liberation. And when I look at what you're doing with the violin and using those strings as a tool of the Black Lives Matter movement, as a tool to represent veterans and black veterans, and moving the conversation forward, it gives me such joy and pride and gratitude. So I just want to thank you for sharing your beautiful resistance with us today.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.